Hi, Nick Byron at 360 Insights. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that's pretty much all the rage. It's almost a discussion, especially with the solution providers, doesn't go by where we don't hear about it, which is AI. And the first thing I'll say is every conversation we have with solution providers is them showcasing their AI capabilities and what they've been working on over the past, I'd say 18 to 24 months, or even longer in some cases. And what I can say is that at the end of the day, what AI can do for organizations is truly revolutionary. It is something that, if implemented absolutely correctly, it can be very impactful to an organization. It can make it so much more effective and efficient if implemented correctly. And when I say effective and efficient, by the way, I'm not talking about FTE reductions, which is, I know, one of the main concerns about AI. To me, it's all about how to make the people that are in seats today more effective and efficient to get more work done, or just to get through their day a little bit easier with the use of these tools and technology. However, I do believe that there's Achilles heel when it comes to AI, and it's all about how it is implemented. And I think if it's not implemented correctly, or if you don't have the back end systems integrations in place, it's not going to do what you think it can do. And the best way I can make that analogy is how I would say customer service and support organizations are leveraging AI in their support and call center operations today. And before I talk about today, let me kind of take you back where, if you think about, geez, I don't even know how long ago it was. At one point in time, there was a new revolutionary technology that came into play, which were these automated operators. At first, it was really meant to be a solution to route a caller to the proper individual. And if implemented properly, it could truly streamline the customer support situation where a customer has an issue, they speak into the phone or they dial a couple of numbers, and eventually they get to a call center rep. But anyone that's really utilized that solution and technology over the past, I'd say 20 or 30 years, knows it doesn't work. It is probably one of the most frustrating parts of calling an organization today, where you have to go through those automated dials. There's only one organization I've ever seen implement it correctly, and it's an organization called Crutchfield, where if you actually use that number, you get to an expert right away, and they're able to help you out. And it's probably one of the best customer support issues or support situations I've ever seen in my life. But that is truly the exception. And everyone that's ever had to call their health insurance, they've had to call any type of support, they know what I'm talking about. And over time, this technology has become updated, it's become smarter, but it's still broken. And what I mean by this is that what they've started to do now is to put almost a block between the operator and the call center. And what they try to do is allow, when you call, to potentially get to the resolution you're looking for by these automated prompts and what they have in terms of automated ways to solving your problem. But here's the thing, and I don't know about anyone else, but I know about, from my perspective, if I am calling an organization, a bank, a retail organization, whatever it might be, I'm not trying to solve a basic issue. I'm not trying to look at my balance. I'm not trying to do just basic troubleshooting. I have a real issue. And the problem that I have with the way that these systems are implemented is it makes it extremely difficult to get to a live person. And what happens is that has broken the customer support perspective, where if you have an issue and you can't get it resolved and you can't get to a live person, it does not work. And that is the problem with how those call center routing situations have been set up over time, where they were meant to be more effective and efficient, but a lot of organizations just never implemented them properly and made it very, very difficult to get to a live agent. The result was not a streamlined customer service experience, but actually a more frustrating one. It may have saved them cost over time, where they believe that they can reduce the overall call center staff. But at the end of the day, I wonder always, how much is it costing them in terms of a customer satisfaction issue? Fast forward to today, I'm seeing this increasingly happen with the use of AI in the customer support perspective, where a lot more organizations have been very rapid to deploy AI in the process of servicing and supporting their customers. But again, what I'm finding is that it's fundamentally broken. It's not developed to be very effective or efficient for the customer. I'll give you an example. And this is real life examples that have happened to me over the past few months. One of them was recently I had upgraded my phone for Verizon. And part of the upgrade was it was supposed to be an exchange. I was supposed to send my new phone back, get some credits. And the problem was is when I got my new phone, it didn't come with a return slip, which it was supposed to come with. So the first thing I did is I went to Verizon and tried to get to a live person. You can't. You got to go through these automated routing systems on the phone. And basically, they're almost, I would say, useless, to be quite blunt. So then I thought, well, let's try the chat. And what they've done is they've set up a chat bot. And unfortunately, no matter what I tried, I could not get the resolution I was looking for. In fact, it kept on thinking I was returning the new phone that I just got. And I tried this multiple different angles to get to a different answer. And the same answer was, you're looking to return your new phone, which wasn't the case. I was looking to return my old phone to get the credits. And it was a very painful experience. And it wasn't until I got to a live person, which was very difficult to do, by the way, that I was able to resolve my issue. Fast forward to last week, I actually had an interesting issue come up with Amazon. And again, these are not small companies. These are really big companies that should have a more sophisticated AI support and I would say experience set up. So in the case of Amazon, what I've noticed first is it's a different platform that they had than even just a couple weeks ago. But anyway, I was supposed to get a package delivered with 2 items. When I got the package, it was clear that it had been opened. There was um, regular packing tape sealing it up versus the Amazon tape that was cut. And I only got 1 item. Who knows what happened? It could have just fallen and broken open and item fell out. Both items fell out and they only thought that one was in there. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, I went to Amazon and I went through their support and literally started going through the chatbot. And the chatbot said, "Is there an issue?" I said, "Yes, it is." And then it asked me what item it was. I pointed the item and it says, it gave me the options. One of them was item missing. Clicked on that. The next one was box not shipped or item missing in box. And I put item missing in box. It's a great, we'll solve this for you. You can either get an exchange or a return. I was like, I would love to get return. I meant in terms of get my money back. And I said, great. I'd love to get get a new item back. I thought I was done. My wife looked at me. She goes, "Wow, that was easy." I was like, "Yeah, it took me about 30 seconds." Well, then what was interesting is about 30 minutes later, I get an email with a packing slip saying, "You need to return your old item within 30 days or you'll be charged for it." Which I thought was interesting because I clearly went through the path of this automated system that said, I don't have the item. It didn't show up in the box. So the other challenge that I end up having is, well, to get to a resolution for this, I try to literally do everything I possibly can to get to a live agent. And I will tell you that Amazon makes it almost impossible now to get to a live person. I spent more than 20 minutes until I finally found a small hidden chat bot within the back end system that would allow me to get to a live person. I can go through almost a dozen of these examples over the course of the past, I would say, 6 or so months, where customer service has become even worse than it was before. And I didn't think it could be worse. And the problem is that organizations are putting into these, I would say, processes, their new AI capabilities that are supposed to be more effective and efficient, but it's imperfect. And especially if it's not configured correctly, it's even more imperfect. And what they're delivering is, I would say, less than a subpar customer service experience. Now, I want to give one more example before I kind of get back to, the uses of AI today. And Jeff Webb, a contributing analyst here at 360 Insights, recently posted almost something that kind of blew my mind when it came to many of the primary AI platforms. One of his friends had posted something on LinkedIn about going to several different AI chats, and putting in just a simple prompt. Please provide a random number between 1 and 50. And what that person found out is that in almost every single case, it produces the number 27. I thought that was wild. And I almost thought that that was made up. So I went to myself, ChatGTP, and put in, give me a number between 1 and 50, a random number between 1 and 50, 27. I then went over to Google and used Google's AI. And again, same prompt, give me a number between 1 and 50, 27. Interestingly enough, the only one that didn't give me the number 27 was Meta. But anyway, to flashback, I went to ChatGTP and I started a new session and I just prompted it again. And it gave me back the number 27. So then I questioned it and I said, interesting. I asked it to give me two random numbers and both times were 27. Its response was, well, yeah, that is pretty interesting. I will tell you that that is exceedingly rare. And they actually gave me the percentage and it said that it used a very specific prompt in order to get that number. And I said, okay, show me that prompt. And it was a Python prompt in terms of a Python coding prompt for the random number 27. So I said, would you like to run it again? I said, yes. It finally gave me another number other than 27. The end result is, I don't know how it comes to the number 27, but yet it came to the number 27 three times with me, twice with ChatGPT and once with Google. And with this individual, it came up multiple times in multiple different systems. What this is all kind of coming down to is that AI is imperfect. And I really do believe that, again, it could be truly revolutionary to how organizations can work today, but you need to put guide rails up. You need to make sure that it's properly tested. You need to make sure that it's properly configured. And I do believe that over time, you need to keep on double checking and making sure that it's staying consistent. The one thing I noticed, I use ChatGPT quite often, is that even if I ask it to create a social media post, it doesn't do it the same way two times in a row. And one of the things that you need for businesses is to have a repeatable process. Not to say that these solution providers are not using different algorithms and different ways to create these repeatable processes, but at the end of the day, is an imperfect system. I believe it's meant to be helping people be more effective, more efficient, take these very, very repeatable tasks and automate them, take other slightly more complex situations and really make ways to create such efficiencies that can dramatically reduce the, I would say, wear and tear and burden on a human being. A really great example is, in the payroll world, it used to take, and when we talk to payroll people, it could take hours, if not days, to comb through a payroll before it's processed for errors. And it was a very meticulous process for them to go through that. There are now AI platforms built in for payroll that can literally go and do error checking in less than minutes and be very, very predictable and reduce that a burden that a person would typically have to go through in terms of reviewing payroll for errors. That is a great situation where AI comes into place, but it still needs to have that oversight. So, long-winded story and a long-winded video, but at the end of the day, again, I think AI and I think what these solution providers are doing is just exceptional. I have been following the technology realm for longer than I'd like to admit. And a lot of what's coming out, it is almost mind-blowing to what these systems can do. But it's not without its flaws. And again, if you're an organization that's evaluating AI and starting to implement it, a couple of things that I would really recommend for these organizations and for you to look at. The first one is when you start implementing it, make sure that you have the proper data governance in place. AI works off of data. And if your data is a mess and it's not in a, I would say, very structured way, and you have a lot of data quality issues, you're going to have issues with the results that AI produces. AI works off the data that you have in place, and you need to have a proper data governance system. Also, AI can work off of multiple systems. And what I'm finding is that a lot of line of business executives are kind of going rogue in trying to purchase and implement these systems on their own. I would highly recommend that you start to bring in IT into the process sooner versus later. IT knows what systems are in play today. IT knows how those integrations may work with a system like AI that can start to pull in information and data from multiple sources. And it can know how AI could potentially play a greater role within your department or within the organization. So I'd highly recommend that. But it also, once you've implemented it, I would highly recommend testing. Don't just test once, test again, test over time. Make sure that you are still getting the results that you were getting to at first. Going back to both Verizon and the Amazon, I guarantee you that someone probably tested that process. I would at least hope that they did. I mean, they're big enough organizations and it produced the right results. But then something happened over time to the algorithm and the agent in the back end to produce a different result. In my case, that Amazon one was a really great example where I went through and I selected all the right prompts. I literally said that this item did not show up. And yet somehow the backend agent set up a return for me that I needed to return an item that no longer existed. So again, make sure that you're testing these to make sure that you're getting the results that you're looking for. And then I would also recommend keeping that human in the loop. You don't just set it and forget it, making sure that you're keeping someone in process that's keeping an eye on it, that's keeping an eye on the overall systems, making sure that the health of the data is correct. Because over time, as it ingests more information and more data, it may stop working, or it may not produce the results that you're looking for, or it may need augmentation. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to review this video. I, I think AI is wonderful, but I also recommend that you really keep your eyes on what's happening from an AI perspective.